Hi everyone, in this video we are going to add a couple more videos. We're going to edit it in a different way, different from using the razor tool like we did in the last video. Also, I'm going to show you what to do when your computer starts running slow. And I'll show you how to make this waveform bigger and edit from it directly. I'm ready, you're ready, let's get going. Okay, to get started, let's bring in some footage. Let's go to File, let's go to Import. And let's bring in, from our exercise files, project 1, let's bring in 3 and 4. You can bring in more than one at a time by clicking the first one, holding shift, grabbing the second one. You can bring them in individually if you find that hard. Let's click import. You'll see down the bottom here, our little project window is starting to fill up. Okay, remember project window has all our files in it. And I don't hate thumbnails, but I switched to list view very early even, because I just like to see the names and all listed in this view here. It's great. You can make them bigger. I'm not sure why you would, okay, but you can't make them much smaller. The one thing that is weird about this is that they're actually listed non-alphabetically in here. You can see 01, then it jumps to XD, and then 02. It's kind of random. So if you do prefer this view, because scrubbing along is pretty cool. So to kind of get it a little bit more usable, see this little slotted lines down here? Click on this, and you can say I want to order, not by user's order, but by name. Okay, and it'll just put it in alphabetical. I don't know, is that just me? Or maybe it's me. So we're going to add these to the timeline. You can, let's click this first one, 03, and just drag the whole thing over until it's after 02. Zoom out a little bit. What's the shortcut? Yeah, it's minus. We're getting there. Okay, and bring in number 4 as well. Nice. Now we're just going to kind of like jump. You don't actually have to drag it. You can just kind of click in here and it jumps to it. Up to you whether you want to drag the CTI along. Okay, but with it here, hit spacebar, preview. There you go. And one thing though is if yours is struggling to play back, if it's struggling to play back this video already, is not a good sign. Okay, but if it is, you see here in the bottom, okay, it's trying to play it back in full resolution. Okay, this is shot in HD. Okay, so it's trying to play it back in full resolution. Let's drop this down to half or a quarter. If it's playing back slowly, just jump it to a quarter. Keep an eye on this. Okay, it's like it's playing okay, looks fine. Go to quarter, and then I hit play, spacebar. Can you see it's kind of blurry? Okay, it's not affecting like the output. If you export this now, it's going to look perfect. It's just like changing the preview, and this will happen to everybody. Doesn't matter how good your computer is. You'll get to a point where you've got so many layers and so many things going on that actually just stick it down to quarter. When you're doing color grading and making it all look pretty, you might have to jump it back up to full, but quarter is fine. You'll notice when it's paused, it's always at full. Okay, it's only when it's playing. Look, it goes to a low quality one just to speed things along. Now, in the last video, we edited using the razor tool. So I'm going to click down here on my timeline. So that goes blue around the outside, hit plus a couple of times. And what we did was, I know this video already, so so the first bit, I start, and then get lost, start again, get lost, start again. So this is the last chunk that we want, okay? Because that's the bit that I actually complete my sentence. So in the last one, we used the razor tool and we just clicked, okay, and we deleted the bits we didn't need. There's another way of editing, okay, and there's no real right or wrong, just sometimes you need one and sometimes you need the other. So we've done razor, let's grab the selection tool. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna put my playhead kind of where I want it to be, because it's really helpful and tries to snap to wherever the playhead is, so you can use that to your advantage. Get it kind of at the beginning here. What we're going to do is, watch this. So I've got my selection tool, and if I hover between this gap here, can you see if I move it to the left-hand side, it's got the left-hand arrow, right-hand arrow. Okay, she's going to be close in here. So I want this side, because I want to deal with this track, okay, or this clip. I'm going to click it, hold it, drag it, okay, and you can see I can drag it to my playhead, and it kind of snaps. And it's the exact same thing. Nothing's different about it instead of just slicing it with the razor tool and deleting it, or dragging it at the end. Some people, you'll end up using a bit of both. Okay, and so we're going to grab it, drag it along. Okay, do the same for the end. I'm going to hit my spacebar. Manage your own UX projects. Now, what I do when I'm editing is that I edit via the waveform. We kind of took it in the last video, but it's very hard to see. It's teeny tiny. Okay, so what we're going to do is, can you see, basically there's this kind of a thicker line here. Okay, video is all on the top and the audio is all below. Okay, so if you've got like 10 audio tracks and 1 video. You're going to have 10 below this. Okay, we've only got kind of like 3 layers to start with, but you can add more. So all the video is at the top and the audio is down the bottom. What I would like to do is move my little mouse, okay, between these lines here, and you can see this one here just underneath the track I'm working on. Now, if you've come from other Adobe worlds, they're like layers, okay, the same thing, but they call them tracks in here in the video world. Okay, so I'm just going to click, hold, and drag it down. Oh, look at that. I can see all the little peaks and troughs and stuff, and it just makes it really easy to edit. Okay, so I'm going to hit plus to zoom in, and I can see, without even watching it and kind of pausing it when I feel like it's finished, I can just drag this along to about just after I finish speaking, and that's nearly always the time to cut it. Okay, so it's real easy to edit via the waveform. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to drag the end. Okay, so if you can't see this end here, you might have to grab the middle of this guy just to drag it along a little bit. Okay, and grab the end. So I'm still using my selection tool and just drag it in. Boom. Now a big question that people have is like, have I deleted this forever? No. You can grab it again and just drag it back out. It's always there. You've never deleted anything ever. You're just kind of trimming the view of it up for export. Okay, but your original audio, or sorry, your original video, okay, this XD, what are we up to? We're up to the third one, is never ever changed. Just sitting on your hard drive, never amended. It's the same thing for when I use my razor tool. So I'm going to drag along here to go to my first one. And what you'll notice is, actually I'm going to zoom out. Now to select more than one, I want to drag both of these along to the right. Okay, so got my selection tool, and I'm just going to click anywhere up here and drag a little box. And you can see as I drag it, it kind of selects a couple. So I've got more than one thing selected. And I'm going to grab, remember, the top part of it's best, drag it along. And what I did earlier is we used the razor tool, but it's exactly the same. Look, I've razored it before, but look, it's all still in there, all the extra junk. Okay, so it never goes away. It's just trimmed the view of it. Now, I was undoing there. If you've never used undo before, it's edit, undo, or I'm using Command Z because I'm fancy with my shortcuts. Okay, so I'm going to drag that back. Great. And let's do the last one together. Let's grab this guy, and I'm just going to edit via the waveform. So I'm going to drag it to about there, okay, and drag the end in, go about there, and drag it in. And even without checking it, I'm probably going to be pretty close. So this is considered a rough cut. I'm just going to kind of drag it all up, cut it all up, and then we'll look at it in a little bit more detail, fixing things. It's best to kind of do a real rough cut first, just get everything in before going into the details. One other little kind of like using Premiere Pro thing I want to just be clear on is if I click on this and I want to get rid of it, just delete key. So just select it, delete it, easy stuff, I know. All right, one last thing I want to kind of share with you before I go is just like how I got to these files and just prepare you for the future. So when I recorded this course, this 05XD is my raw footage that came out of my camera. It's shot at a modest HD. Okay, we're going to talk about HD versus 4K later on, but it's a modest size, okay, good enough quality, and it came out at 1.2 gigabytes. It is huge, okay, and that's the footage that comes out of my camera that I have to work on. So you as the editor, you'll be given files this sort of size. So what I do for this course though is I took that same file and I compressed it right down. It's still HD, but I kind of like lowered the quality of it. So it's not going to look as pretty as the original, but you can see the file size is like 15 megabytes versus 1.2. So know that you're getting this sort of stuff. In this course, you can, everything's quite small and it's I guess it's not realistic. Okay, so you're going to finish this course and go, yay, my computer can handle it. And then all of a sudden you get given this big giant 4K footage and your computer kind of, catches fire. So just to know that I do some pre-edits. And the other thing I do as well is if you end up recording yourself, like I do a lot, be prepared. I've kind of made these all look like I've done 1 or 2 takes and then got it good. But let's look at 5. Okay, so this one here, to get this last little bit where I actually get it, okay, I finally get it and it takes about 20 seconds, but it took me 6 minutes to get that 20 seconds. Okay, so if you're filming yourself, it's hard. Even I'm like super experienced at filming myself, and it's, man, there's a lot of takes. So I've cut all this down to make it smaller and know that it's hard to film yourself. All right, that is it. You should have something that looks reasonably like that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, recap, timeline is where also your sequence. Okay, your project window is all your files. Over here is your program window. That's what's going to be exported. And over here, if you double click on something, remember, source window. Okay, just the preview window. All right, on to the next video.